Welcome to another installment of This Is Not Normal on the Political Drain podcast with Drill Sergeant Doug, aka Admin Doug, a U.S. Army veteran, teacher, musician, and family man from Jamaica, now fights for justice and democracy through commentary and humor. Follow him on YouTube at Political Drain and at Sons of Liberty Official as Drill Sergeant, aka Admin Doug, continues to protect our freedoms.
And it was at this point that he realized that he fucked up. But it was at this point when this black man took his belt off to whip him like an indentured servant. I mean, after all, Matt Walsh keeps telling me that indentured servants were the same thing as slaves. But it was at this point when he got to taste the ancestors.
I dare you to do it, and I swear for God, I'll make you taste the ancestors.
Me too.
What's up, YouTube? Drill Sergeant here, and you may be wondering, why did I show you that in the beginning? Well, if I'm honest with you, because I thought it was hilarious. That's why. But there's nuance there, of course. I'm not just frivolously showing you things that I know will just start to incite violence or hate on the channel. That's not what this is about. As a matter of fact, this is going to be about the opposite of that. This is about allyship. I'm continuing my series on the forthcoming revolution, the forthcoming revolt, the rising up of people when their rights have been taken away. And in that intro, there are two portions that exactly exemplify what it is that I'm talking about socially. It seems weird. I promise you'll get it. But first, the rising up. It started with Justin Pearson. Not started with him. It's been going on since rights have been stripped away slowly but surely, since the first time they got rid of the first piece of the Voting Rights Act, way back in Trump's first term. And as people have been caught on the streets and grabbed up, leaving their children behind, and as people are being abused in concentration camps all around America that they're calling ICE detention centers, we've been seeing the consequences of that, is what I'm saying. The consequences of people not having legal recourse. And so the only recourse that's left is force. I'm not going to read the literature and the political theory that I did in the first two videos to prove this to you. This one is just going to be on the assumption that you get it now. But if you need those, you can find them here. On the other hand, back in Memphis,
They should have left them alone. Now, the hood is involved.
Come on! Don't run! Bullshit ass shit y'all pay! Don't run! Look at him! Look at him! Tight bald head! Baby booty head ass boy!
Now you got young black Americans that know exactly what's going on.
You think you done did something, don't you? Come on, pop my skittle!
And they're showing up, as you can see.
You think you did something, didn't you, boy? Look at him, long ass ass, little shoes. What's up, boy? Swole neck ass, boy. What's up? Say something. Say something.
And they don't like that.
Yo ass don't look a day over 140. Ugly face ass, yo. Yo ass one step away from the grave, my boy.
You guys are up against the wrong people.
Hit him. Hit him. Hit him. Hit him if you want to. Hit him. Hit him. Hit him. Hit him. Hit him. Hit him. Bitch, you gotta move. Bitch, you gotta move, huh? You gotta move, boy. You gotta move, boy.
You're up against fighters. They're not afraid of you.
Who you gonna get your ass out of here? Who you gonna get your ass out of here? Get your ass out of here. bitch. You gotta save him. You gotta save him.
And you can take everything away from them. You have more to lose than they do, and that's a fact. And they're going to push you to the brink. Look how upset these people were. They were pissed. They wanted to do something, and they couldn't. You kept pushing, and now you're going to get pushed back. Memphis, they should have left them alone.
So said, so done. I told you I would bring it to you every time I saw it, YouTube. Not only because I enjoy watching it, and that's important to be said, because everyone else is going to find the philosophical reason why. I think you need to know that for the ancestors, I enjoy it. But the nuance is what I bring here on this channel, and I mean that very seriously. You see, the whole point of having a democracy, the whole point that there used to be a big question in the Black community of, why is it that you only hurt your own and you don't go after them, or whatever them means? There is a grain, a kernel of truth there. That kernel is when the democracy is even faking working, there's an acceptance of law and order and the rule around the courthouse, the rules around the Capitol building, the rules around the legislatures. Only crazy people who believe that they're Jesus would go in there and start, messing around in these places. You see, people were downtrodden enough, and poor people, they do violence and they do crime because they're poor. And wherever there's a poor community, in that community, you're going to see crime and violence. But the difference is they never went over there to do it. You wouldn't see this before because there is a level and acceptance of, well, these guys are the law. And when you start to take away the rights that are holding up your power, white congressperson, people who were getting pointed at in that video and pointed at by Justin Pearson, and just regular people out there who are used to Black people doing this. You didn't think it was going to come back. You had a big stick. But Black folks have always been the one to say, go back to the car. This isn't for you. No matter how violent you said we were, they've always been the ones to say, go back to the car, homie. This is how it's always been. This is why people like Chud, the builder, never got attacked while calling people the N-word over and over and over again, is because there has been a certain deference and understanding of the law and the situation we're in, and how we win. And as you take away those wins, you start to see that thing that was holding you up, the power that you thought you had, was only there because of the laws that we fought for and won. And as they get regressed, and as people start to see that those laws don't exist, and people start to see that power is no longer law and order, but power is force. That guy saying, go back to the car, the deference we always used to give, the deference that white people in power were used to from us because they thought that we were owed that, they were owed that, becomes this. But it was at this point when he got to taste the ancestors. The belt comes off, and you may taste the ancestors. Now, there's another part of this. Because those rights have been won, we've seen a change in the mindset of more people than would have been had those rights not been won. I'm going to say it that way, so it can be as clean as possible without going overboard on how many allies we have. The truth is, we have enough. You see, there's two parts of that intro that I'm going to continue to harp on, and that is how long Black people have been saying, go to the truck, have been deferring to the assumed power given by the rights. And as they have been taken away, we're not the only ones who see that and who realize where the power and the privilege is. Watch this.
This video has had me emotional all morning because I've never seen people with white privilege use their privilege in this kind of way. Notice that everywhere he moves, they move. This little Asian woman is about to hop up here in these heels, and a white man with a leather coat put his arm around to make sure they didn't touch him. But look, they're never trying to touch the non-black person. Ever. This man in the back done grabbed his baton for what? The only people being violent are the police. So if you ever try to tell me that your whiteness doesn't have any privilege or your proximity to whiteness is not a privilege, look at this. They're not trying to touch anybody but the black man. This is what it looks like to be an accomplice.
Doesn't that warm your heart? Doesn't that warm your heart, America? You see, after the George Floyd protest, there were many white people and people of all colors that realized, hey, we're going to have to put our bodies on the line if this is going to change, if we're going to help. People out there in the No Kings rallies have said the same thing. They understand why we're not there, because it's time for them to put their bodies on the line. This is what happens, powerful people, I'm speaking to you, when you have stripped away the rights to the point where even white folks are getting shot in the face in broad daylight. You're too open. So when I say that the revolt is coming, it's not just that the cry and call of the ancestors is upon us. Not just that. And it's not just the fact that you're going to be seeing us in a different light, meaning black people, going to places where we used to have deference. But it's also in the fact that everyone sees where we are now because you stopped hiding it. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's why you get this.
He talked to son, he said, listen with me. Your son said that, so I just told my uncle that I was going to come down here and say something because I don't play like that. Y'all got to understand.
Me. Get your ass over and apologize.
Sorry.
And I don't know where you learned that word from or why you think it's such a trigger, but did we treat you like that when we came to our house? We allowed you, your sister, we allowed you in. That's not okay. It's never okay to use that word under any circumstance.
That father there, not to say that he wouldn't have done it if the climate wasn't the same, but I guarantee you his son wouldn't have said that in any other climate because that's what made him say that. The internet is crazy. Kids are getting ridiculous at a young age, falling into these red pill manosphere, using the N-word everywhere. But where that father would have said, it's just kids before. These kids are being kids. Stern talking to. Now, he realizes where he is, the time that he's living in. And he bucked up on his own son. He's bucked up on him, literally. Huh? I mentioned Chud the Builder, and I'm going to end it with this. You see, in the intro, there were two parts. Remember, I kept telling you you're going to see it again. There was this. Go back to your car. Go back to your car. That is what Chud the Builder was used to getting. That is what he was used to getting, why he felt comfortable enough to go out there and say the N-word over and over. If you don't know that story, I'm glad. But now he has shot himself and someone else because they finally fought back. It's not a coincidence that black people for years know that when the camera's on, they allow certain things because they've seen how it worked in the law. Not how it worked for us, but even against us. And that mattered. That idea of power built in by the laws mattered. You could still vote. You still had your district. You was placated just enough. When those were taken away, you got this. But it was at this point when he got to taste the ancestors. You taste the ancestors. And so said, so done. This guy thought he was going to go around and copycat Chud the Builder, not knowing the laws that held up the facade of power that they had were stripped away. And now the answers are force. The tools are force. This is what happened to that copycat. I approve. I approve. I've already tasted the ancestors. And I know what that word comes with. That's why Chud the Builder is in the hospital along with the guy that he shot. We're no longer waiting for that. The peaceful protest will commence. The subversive action will commence. But also what will commence is the pulling up on you. And I'll reiterate for the last time for my allies out there, we're not the only ones. I say to you, get your popcorn ready. Nobody's calling for anything. I've given it to you plenty of times that this is the inevitable outcome of overstepping your reach as a government. And your racism and your hatred, Republicans, is going to bring onto you something that you thought you could never see again. You thought your power was absolute. Unfortunately, you don't have the numbers to fight back what it is you think you're going to fight back. And the riots aren't going to be what you think they are. They're going to be white folks smashing windows because they're done with being associated with your disgustingness and your history. And it's going to be black people who have no more recourse through law pulling up on you with their fingers in your face, daring you to say the N-word. Anyway, I find that to be comforting. Don't you, resistance? We got more training on how to deal with what comes after that. Should be up on Wednesday. The time to fight is now. Also, direct action means maybe you need to be throwing some dildos. I didn't say throwing, I'm sorry. Holding, playing. The dildo distribution people. Yeah. You haven't seen them? Go to closertotheedge.com. I'm going to put the link in there that shows you the whole thing that they're doing. It's amazing. But they're using these, and they've got thousands of them now because they realize that they're so effective at warding off these ICE agents at Whipple in Minneapolis. And now around the nation, they're giving these away to people. They're passing them out because that absurdity in the face of this toxic masculinity seems to be the one thing that gets these ICE agents to back off. It actually works. So I want to help them get those donations for the thousands that they've bought. Also, the thousands were donated to them as well. But for the ones that they bought, they need to get that money back, and they need to keep this going because it's working. If nothing else, just to piss off those ICE agents. Email me, politicaldrain@proton.me. politicaldrain@proton.me. You email me, say, I want to donate, and I will give you the instructions on how to do so, because the time to fight is now. Hey, yeah, you. Before you click away to watch someone unbox a tactical toothbrush, let's talk about something real. Political Drain isn't just another content mill. We're a digital front in a very real war. Not with bullets, but with ideas, with action, and with solidarity. We pair urgent news with critical education. And we build community around actual resistance, not the hashtag kind. The kind that moves. But here's the thing. None of this is free. It isn't. Behind every video is time, labor, research, and some weird guy asking if we're going to pay the hosting bill. And yeah, some of that money goes to things we can't necessarily say out loud. If you know, you know. Let's just say our special ops aren't Call of Duty LARPers. They're people making real moves to protect, uplift, and organize. You're not just funding a channel. You're funding a resistance network in a world where capital still calls the shots. Unfortunately, in a system built on artificial scarcity, even mutual aid has a price tag. And if we want to grow, if we want to win, we need your help. We need your help. So if you've got even a few bucks to spare, toss it our way. It's not for ads. It's not for merch drops, but for people making moves in the shadows so others can do it in the light. It's just us and you. So fund the mission, fund the fight, fund the future, because nobody's coming to save us. We save each other. That's how this works.
That was the Political Drain podcast, which can be heard on www.groovechillradio.com/political-drain and can be viewed on the Political Drain YouTube channel anytime. Once again, thank you for listening to Groove Chill as we resist fascism in any form, pursue democracy, peace, and love.